The real question is, will the FBI hold people accountable? I mean, I got my doubts, and frankly, I'll believe it when I see it. 2016, they spied on President Trump's campaign. In 2018, it was the Mueller investigation. In 2020, they suppressed information about the Hunter Biden laptop. We're going to do everything we can to hold these folks accountable. And if we have the majority, bring them in front of Congress, do the depositions that need to be done so we can get the facts.
So Republicans are saying they will launch multiple investigations into Hunter Biden if they take back the House in November. This amid reports the Department of Justice is considering federal charges against the president's son. Here to talk about it, Jon Levine, New York Post, been with us for some time. Morning to you.
Good to see you.
Bring us what you believe is new on this part of the story today, John.
Well, you know, a lot of the Hunter stuff that you're seeing from the intelligence agencies or the Department of Justice or even much of the mainstream media has been old news to regular viewers of Fox News and readers of the New York Post. But I think what's new and what's interesting is finally the official, organs of state are catching up to where we all are. And so now they say that there is chargeable evidence about that Hunter lied on federal gun forms. He said he was not currently addicted to drugs or narcotics when he purchased a handgun, which you can't do. It's a serious federal crime. There's also talk that he didn't report his full income taxes. But the Justice Department is the one that decides who and who doesn't face federal charges, and that's ultimately going to be, Merrick Garland and his people, and he answers to President Biden. So
Is there anybody that is actually talking? I thought it was interesting that Hunter's lawyer did come out last week and say that he wanted the Justice Department to investigate whoever leaked the story about the possible indictment, but we don't hear too much from them.
No, it's interesting now. Now it's the Democrats and Team Biden that's concerned about leaking from the department. Never mind. We saw years of leaks about the Russia investigation, which all turned out to be nothing. So it's interesting to see the shoe on the other foot here.
I think the other thing that Jordan talked about with Maria on Sunday was that they would call Christopher Wray to testify, which probably makes sense if you want to know why the FBI hasn't proceeded on a particular investigation that you think should happen. However, here are the charges Hunter faces: tax crimes, foreign lobbying, making false statements, lied on a gun purchase paperwork, which is what you just mentioned there. But if the Republicans take the House, look at the long list of potential matters that they would investigate. His business dealings, his art sales, Homeland Security Secretary, withdrawal from Afghanistan, on and on the list goes.
It's a long list.
Yeah. Do you think that Hunter Biden is at the top of that list? My guess is yes.
Right. I mean, there's going to be a blizzard of House oversight probes should Republicans take back the Congress in the midterm elections. And the White House is already gearing up. They're hiring staff explicitly just to deal with what they expect will be inquiries and subpoenas and whatever else. There's a very established D.C. lawyer named Richard Sauber and his deputy Ian Sams, and the team is going to expand.
It's interesting how this story, I believe now, is not just on a conservative or a liberal site, right? This is mainstream people. People know about the Hunter Biden story, and I don't think that even if they said, well, he did those things when he was addicted to drugs and alcohol, and therefore, now that he is recovered, he shouldn't have to face consequences for that. That's not how it works for Americans across the country, and there will be backlash for that.
No, it's not how it works. I mean, think about people like Paul Manafort, who spent years in prison over Foreign Agent Registration Act crimes, and that's one of the things Hunter's potentially being investigated for. Poor Rudy Giuliani had his apartment raided over suspicion of FARA violations. So there can't be two standards of justice in this country. And I know he was addicted to drugs at the time, but that doesn't excuse illegal behavior where it happens. And, there are questions about what involvement his father had that need to be answered as well.
If all this happens, the White House is going to have to be ready for it. Reports suggest that they're already staffing. They're already beefing up for this. They're going to need an army of people.
Yeah, already there's paying $265,000 of yours and I's money to pay for these two individuals I just mentioned to sort of run interference on what they expect to be the blizzard of subpoenas and inquiries. And if Republicans take back the House, that team is expected to grow.
Wow. Well, Jon Levine, thank you so much. We look to you for news on this stuff. We appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for having me.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.